that. It's none other than Brother Dewayne with us today. So thank you for being here with us, sir.
I'm glad to be here.
Yes.
Excited. Everybody has habits, both good and bad.
Yeah.
He said, penny won't hurt you, but a penny will hurt you.
Life can shake your life and can bring some things out that it will reveal what your perspective and what's first, what's your priority.
Not only is God a miracle worker and a way maker, he's a habit and an addiction breaker.
Yeah.
And he did it for me. Every habit
Yeah.
is hard to break.
Yeah.
And it's a choice you have to make. We're trying to do what's right, and we're committed as much as we can to the church. I wasn't expecting a tragedy. I didn't know if I could take another breath, and I didn't really care if I did or not. That's a bad place to be, and you don't know a way out.
Yeah.
The same God that saved me loves me.
Yeah.
He was going to show me a way out. So I coped the best I could, trying to get through it. But later down the line, it caught up to me.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Life Together podcast. My name is Joel Vargas and I'm the connection pastor here. And if you're brand new here, I want to personally say thank you for joining us and staying with us. And if you haven't, you can go ahead and subscribe to our channel and just follow everything that's happening here at Together Church. But I am really, really glad that you're here today, whether you're working out or you're just listening while you're driving or just taking a quiet moment to yourself. I think this conversation that we're going to have today on this topic, on this podcast, hits us all, is because no one escapes the conflict and the tension and the unpredictability of life. Whether that's in relationships, in church, in leadership, or even within ourselves. But the truth is, conflict itself isn't the problem. It is the habits we have in our lives that can either we overcome the conflicts and tensions or the problems, or we either fall into them because of the things we have in our lives. So I think this is a central conversation to have, to know that in life, as this phrase is, we are a creature of habits. I think as we grow in our relationship with Jesus, also our habits change. So I believe that this is going to be a beneficial and just a great conversation for everyone to hear. But for this conversation, I'm excited to have in our church, he is our lead elder, financial advisor, but as well as, man, he is ready to give some real perspective. He's not going to give any polished answers. It's lived experience and just the reality of things. And I think we value that. It's none other than Brother Dewayne with us today. So thank you for being here with us, sir.
I'm glad to be here.
Yes.
Excited.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great. You guys are in for a treat. Let me tell you. I'm just glad he said yes when I asked him on that Sunday when we were talking about it. And, I'm not a early morning person. That's his routine, and he's great at that. So I made sure that we set this up at a time where it was good for you and that you would be here. So I think I had a large cup of coffee this morning. So I'm pretty fully functioned right now. So I think we're going to get through this well, but I think this is going to be a great thing. So before we get into the deeper stuff of habits and what we want to talk about today, I just want the people to know maybe something of you that they wouldn't expect, whether that's a hobby, whether that's just life or something you do or experience or a habit that they won't know just by looking at you on a Sunday morning.
Well, I think most people know that Pastor Justin and I hunted for the last 10 years or so, and that I love to hunt. I love to bass fish, but a lot of people already know that. I guess the thing that they probably don't know about me is I love to play I try to say this non-Southern, I play the guitar. Guitar.
There you go.
Guitar. That's a hobby of mine that I started actually in high school. I picked up the guitar in high school, but marriage and kids and career, I put it down. And about 9 years ago, when I semi-retired, I picked it back up and got serious about learning how to play. Yeah. I don't intend to buy a tour bus, and I don't intend to try to get Ricky to put me on stage. What I like to do is get out in my little music room and plug in and play loud,
Yeah.
and just relax. That's a hobby of mine.
You know, I think there's some that are watching right now, but like, we never expected it. Like,
Well, I could talk
yeah.
Pastor Ricky into letting me up there one time and not wearing my suit and wear something that I would normally wear
Yeah.
and just make everybody pass out in the spirit,
Man, that'll be an amazing Sunday.
That'll be an
first
amazing
of all.
Sunday.
But that's so good because I think sometimes we only see the put together version or the things that we see on a quick Sunday as we experience people, but we don't know the real side of or the real version of people and the just who they are, right? There's so much that if we build in community or we're able to walk out community, right, we start seeing the reality of people or the things that we don't expect from them. So, you know, that actually connects really well to what we're talking about today. Because a lot of our habits in conflict and tension in life, again, the unpredictability of what happens in life, we don't get to choose the majority of the things. There are things in life that it's out of our consequences because of things we've done, but there are so much in people's story that if they had the option, if they had the multiple choice to pick, that wouldn't be the choice they picked. But in those conflict, in those tension, there are things that either surface or that we start realizing, and they show up in those real moments. I call it the unfiltered moments of life. And we realize, oh, there are things in us that we haven't handled, or till I actually dealt with this conflict, I didn't know I was going to respond that way. And it really reveals a deeper need to either figure out what bad habits or good habits we have in our lives. So let me ask you this, and your thought as we kind of dive into this is, when you think about conflict, when you think about life or the unpredictability of life in your own experience, what was your natural instinct? Like, where do you go or where do you go without even thinking about it? Either that be mentally, emotionally, spiritually, when you went through some conflict and struggles in your life?
Well, obviously, the Word of God is where I go to conflict. And what I've learned through the Word over a period of time. Habits, when we talk about habits, you said good and bad, and that's true. But habits are also either conscious or hidden. And the truth of the matter is, a lot of people have habits that are bad that they're hidden from. They don't know they're doing a bad thing.
Yeah.
And so they know when they're doing the good things.
Yeah.
But actually, our daily life, it's said that our daily life, 65% of what we do every day is from habits, not from personal choices, but from habits. So when you're dealing with conflict, and whether it's family, whether it's church, whether it's career, you have to determine what habits might be causing that conflict. And sometimes you don't even know because they're hidden from you.
Yeah.
And before you can correct a bad habit or a habit that you shouldn't have, you have to recognize that you have that habit.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, either they surface in situations that you didn't plan out, unpredictability, right? And it shakes up your life.
Yes.
And now you either react, right? We're very reactive to things instead of, processing the situation. Has there been an experience for you where it really magnified certain things in your life where you didn't know you would ever react to the experience you walked out in your life that kind of sticks out to you?
Well, let me just kind of come out of the gate.
Yeah.
Everybody has habits, both good and bad.
Yeah.
And in life, sometimes you pick up a bad habit that you didn't expect to. I was raised in church. Yeah. I grew up in a non-denominational church. My dad didn't go. He wasn't saved at the time. Me and my mom went to church every Wednesday, every Saturday night, every Sunday morning, every Sunday night. And she didn't drive, but some way we always got to church, which is remarkable.
Yeah.
So I had a pretty good Bible and spiritual background by the time I graduated. And I told one of my buddies that I visited in the hospital not too long ago. He was a rounder in school. He was always in trouble, and so I found out that he was in Lakeland General, and I visited him. And as we were sitting there talking, he said, "Dewayne, you never got in much trouble in high school." And I said, "No, I didn't. I could have.
Yeah.
It would have been easy." But I said, I didn't want to ever disappoint my mom and dad. And he said, "I wish I could have been like that." And I said, that was the driving force behind me trying to create good habits and not bad ones.
Yeah.
And then I got in college and Polk Community College and graduated in '67. Everybody can do the math. And actually, on the September the 2nd, 1969, I took my first jet ride from Tampa to Atlanta, and from Atlanta down to Fort Benning, Georgia.
Okay.
September the 2nd, '69, Debbie started her senior year in high school. So first time I'd been away from home, and of course it'd been the first time I was away from her. And so when I got to Fort Benning, Georgia, I thought I was going to die because I was homesick.
Yeah.
And I remember it like it happened yesterday, Pastor Joel. We would do our routine, our stuff that we did, habitual habits every day.
Yeah.
And we would come in and eat, and I was sitting on my cot. These guys, 4 or 5 guys sitting 4 or 5 beds down from me, said, "Hey, why don't you come down here and play some cards?" And I said, "No, I don't gamble." But I was so stinking homesick.
Yeah.
I mean, I just couldn't hardly. They said, "Hey, we're not gambling. We're playing for a penny." He said, "A penny won't hurt you,
Yeah.
but a penny will hurt you." And so I decided to go down there. I said, there can't be anything. It has to be better than dying from homesickness.
Yeah.
So I went down there and started playing, and it started occupying my time. And so night after night, when we got a chance, we'd play cards.
Yeah.
A nickel and a dime and a quarter and a dollar. And over a period of time, I developed this habit of gambling. Never smoked. I never drank. I didn't use bad words. I often thought, did I get it genetically?
Yeah.
Because I told you my dad didn't go to church, but he did like to go play pool and gamble. And my mama hated it. And when I heard any disagreement in the house, it was over gambling. And so I thought, okay. One time, even after I came back home and was in the reserves, every chance that we got, we gambled. We'd stay up all night long playing cards. Yeah. But it had changed. Some of the pots was $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 in one hand.
Wow.
And I recognized one night I was in deep, and that I didn't know that I could get out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell Debbie will watch this, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it anyway. Yeah. When I gambled, especially when I was at Fort Benning and Fort Rucker, and I'd win a little money and come home, and I would buy her something. She seemed to understand more when I bought her something from the gambling money, but not to lose any money.
Yeah.
And the bad thing about it, sometimes you feel like you're good, and I felt like I was good at this. Yeah. But there's times that you can lose. Yeah. And I'm going to make this story short because I'm wasting some time here. But we got into this pot one night. We called it guts. That means the pot can win, or anybody around the table can win. But if you lose, you match the pot. And I had a great hand. And I recognized that it was a possibility that both the pot could win or anybody else. And I said, I'm going to walk away. If I don't do this and win this, this is about $5,000. Or if some way, somehow, it beat me, That's the end of the world in 1969, 70
Yeah.
for $5,000.
Yeah.
I prayed at the table, and I said, Lord, if you will let me get out of this hand, if you'll let me walk away from it, I will never, ever, ever gamble again. And I got up, I threw my cards down, and walked away.
Wow.
And in my career, there's been no telling how many times I've gone through Vegas, and because that was where one of our offices was.
Yeah.
And by the time you get off the plane to the time you get on the plane, there's opportunities to gamble. And I know there's a difference between a habit and an addiction. I get that.
Yeah.
A habit's something you choose to do. An addiction is almost something that you have no control of doing.
Yeah.
And this probably was greater than a habit. This was probably an addiction. But I walked away from it.
Yeah.
And I've never bought a lottery ticket. I've never gambled $1 on anything since 1969. So not only is God a miracle worker and a way maker, he's a habit and an addiction breaker.
Yeah.
And he did it for me. You got time for one more story?
I got all the time, really.
As most people don't know, they should know. I grew up in the 60s. So I didn't listen to gospel music.
Yeah.
I listened to music.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite bands was the Allman Brother Band. It's Southern rock. You probably never heard of them.
Type it up for me.
Go on YouTube and watch them.
Okay.
Greg Allman. I mean, most people know him because he married Cher.
Okay.
But he was part of the Allman Brothers Band. And I think I mentioned to you, they were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And the night he got up to accept the award, he was drugged and drunk as he could be. He could hardly speak. And the next day he watched the interview and saw what kind of condition he was in. That shows you sometimes you don't even know what condition you're in.
Yeah.
And he said, I've got to quit. I think he said he went to 17 rehabs and was never able to break the addiction. And he said one day he had actually thought about taking his life. And he fell down in the kitchen floor and said, Lord, I've tried everything but you. If you'll help me break this, then I will not ever, ever take another drug. I'll never drink another drop. Now, whether he did or not, I don't know, Pastor Joel.
Yeah.
But I know it changed his life because I heard him speak a lot of times after that,
Yeah.
how much he relied on God every day.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people don't think there's a chance in the world for Greg Allman to be in heaven. But the truth of the matter, there's going to be a lot of people that God broke things from that will be there.
Yeah.
And we're going to be shocked.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think even in your story, I mean, over time you learn the habit.
Yes.
And you said, there's a difference between habits and addiction. I think habits eventually turn into addictions.
Yes.
Depending how you realize, is this turning into that? Is this getting into that moment? And I think if you understand that something's developed over time, it's time to stop from there, which, as yourself and, decide to say, hey, God, please take me out. Those are the moments you realize you're too far in to now an addiction where I need you, God, to save me from this.
Well, let me explain. I didn't mean to. I have kept that vow. I've failed him 100 million times.
Yeah.
But on that one thing, I can say that thing that happened that night, it changed my life.
Yeah.
But like you just said, the habits just escalate.
Yeah.
When you start when you start down a road, it's never enough where you are. You got to go to the next step.
Yep.
And so I know you don't know the group, but I'm going to use another one. Chicago was a favorite group of mine, and they had a song. You're a hard habit to break. Now, it's in a different context, of course.
I was like, can we use it? No, maybe not.
But every habit
Yeah.
is hard to break.
Yeah.
And it's a choice you have to make.
Yeah. Yeah. And you saying that, I heard this from a pastor where he was talking about what turns into idolatry,
Yes.
right? It's something that's good can be turned into something that's ultimate, and something that's ultimate becomes idolized because there's a shift. Now it becomes everything for you.
Yes.
It reshifts your priority.
It does.
It reshifts your perspective of anything. And whether it's addiction with gambling or just how you deal with life's conflict, right? Life can shake your life and can bring some things out that it will reveal what your perspective and what's first, what's your priority. So kind of shifting into that thought, life brings some problems and some things and some grief and some situations that is never in the cards to use out of your story. It's not something that you say, well, this is what we're going to walk through one day. But I think how we handle those, and sometimes I feel like any of us, I put myself in there, we don't handle conflict or tension or the unpredictability of life well. Because maybe the mindset, what we have is, I'm going into this problem to win, or I'm coming in to protect myself, versus what am I supposed to learn? What is God trying to develop in my life? So what do you think, or has there been a situation in the journey of your life where the unexpected, the thing that just hit you the hardest, stir your life, and it really brought you to a point where you had to confront some things that you never thought you would, and realize that was in you, and now you've had to figure out how to heal from that or move on from that?
Well, that's a good question, Pastor Joel. And I believe that it's relevant because I see this circumstance in so many people in the church. I don't tell the story often, but it's my story, and it's coming up in May. It always happens around Mother's Day. We, like I mentioned before, always in church.
Yeah.
When Debbie and I got married in 1970, do the math, it's been 55, 56, almost 56
Everybody's
years.
got their calculators out. Yeah.
We dropped out of church a little while. We were going to a church, non-denominational church that probably had 60 or 70 for Easter.
Yeah.
So we're one of the we're almost the only young married couple there. Just a couple.
Yeah.
And small church, we dropped out. Stayed out of church probably, I'd say 3 years or so. And I know God has kind of started stirring me up. My mom lived next door, my mom and dad. And every time an evangelist would come to town, she'd have them out to eat, and she'd call me on the phone and say, "Can you come over here a minute?"
Yeah.
I knew what that was. I mean, hard to hide.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a preacher over there,
Yeah.
and she wants me to come over and meet him. Well, I got to meet a lot of people that I later got to know from Lake Wire Church of God. It's where we started 56 years, 50 years ago, I guess it was. 76. What's 76? Yeah, it's 50.
I was going to say, your math is way better than mine.
It's 50. Because my son's 50.
Okay.
So
yeah.
it's 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Met a lot of the people that I'd grow to know and love from that church. And go to church, and all of a sudden, in just a few months after rededicating my life, we had a revival, and they put me in charge of the outreach ministry. We ran 7 buses every Sunday morning. Wow. We picked up about 250 to 300 kids every single week. Visitation on Saturday. So we're involved in the church. Paid tithes. We had the general overseer, used to be the general overseer, come to the church, Dennis McGuire, and had a lot of young people. He had a young marriage class, and one day he came to me and said, "Hey, I can't preach and do Sunday school. You take the young married class," which proves at one time I was young. And it was young married when I started. It wasn't young married 30-something years later when I stopped teaching Sunday school. But I said all this to say that in my mind, I thought, we're doing a lot of stuff right.
Yeah.
We're trying to do what's right. And we're committed as much as we can to the church. I wasn't expecting a tragedy. So we're at the church on May 12th, 1989. It was a Friday night choir practice. But after choir practice, we had, I gave a devotional, 30 minutes, a little devotional after they practiced choir. And that particular time, I was coaching baseball because my son was playing. And we got there a little late. My daughter, which was older than my son, that was the first thing that happened that I didn't expect.
Yeah.
She was a senior in high school, got pregnant in high school. I never would have expected that, ever. And we had a talk. I knew the boy, and we had some conversation, and me and my daughter had some conversation. And I know you hear this on the news all the time, and I hate to hear it so bad, that they could have just robbed the store and beat somebody to death, but the mom's going to come on and say, he was a good boy.
Yeah.
I mean, but she was a good girl.
Yeah.
And it was a mistake. At least that's the way you always take it. It was a mistake.
Yeah.
You don't know that it might be a lifesaver. You might be looking at it for a mistake, but it could save your life. So everything's over. Everybody's headed to their cars. And we have these people drive up and said, hey, there's a real bad accident on Kathleen Road. I said, okay. Didn't pay any attention to it. Some more people came by the church and said, hey, they said it's somebody from the church. And so, oh, wow, that sounds bad. Came back and said, hey, it's daughter. It's your daughter. So we took off to the hospital, got there, and doctor came out and said, we're doing everything we can. And probably 40, 50 people from the church was sitting in the room with us and came out and said we couldn't do anything. May 12th, 1989. Wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
Didn't know how we were going to survive.
Yeah.
I told somebody at Boomers the other night, I'd been in a place in my life that I didn't know if I could take another breath, and I didn't really care if I did or not. That's a bad place to be, and you don't know a way out.
Yeah.
But there's always a way out.
Yeah.
What do you do? That's what we're talking about.
Correct.
What do you do now?
Yeah.
This is reality. What do you do? I spent a lot of time in Job. I felt like I know it by heart.
Yeah.
And I still use it a lot in the teaching. And I get a lot of chance to talk to people that's had this type of tragedy in their life. And one thing I knew for sure is I'd never smile or I'd never laugh again. I knew that for a fact.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a fact. The same God that saved me loves me.
Yeah.
And he was going to show me a way out. Tell me when I'm talking too much.
Oh, you go ahead. You got it.
I was teaching the class, and I called him. We had the funeral. There was 1,000 people there that day at Lake Wire. Church only holds about 450. And, of course, it was a tragedy. The high school, it involved everybody because it shocked everybody.
Yeah.
She was 2 weeks away from graduating. My grandson was born in February while she was in high school. And so I called the church, and I said, I'm resigning my class. I don't have anything to give out. There's nothing in there. I can't teach because there's nothing in there.
Yeah.
I said, okay, we do it. So basically my job, I thought was my job, and I still feel it was my job. Some way, somehow, I got to get Debbie through it, and my son through it, and my mom and dad through it, and Debbie's mom and dad through it. It's my job to get those people through this. So I coped the best I could trying to get through it. But later down the line, it caught up to me that it was me that wasn't through it. And I really should have gone for some counseling, but I didn't. I didn't go. But back to the Sunday school thing. I didn't do anything. We went to church. I just sat there kind of in a daze and empty. We went right to the front of the church where we always sat to sit.
Yeah.
And I got to thinking, what am I going to do? I can't live life like this. And so I called the church after about 3 weeks, and I talked to the associate there, and I said, hey, listen, I know I called you and told you that I wanted you to give my class away, but if they're ever sick or you ever need a substitute teacher, I'm going to try that.
Yeah.
He said, we didn't give your class away. We knew you'd call, and we were just waiting for you to call because that's something that you feel that you have to do.
Yeah.
And slowly but surely, you can call it habit.
Yeah.
You call it whatever it is. It was a calling, but a habit is something you do repeatedly. Yeah. It's something you do over and over and over.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, I'm going to do the best I can to work through it. And that's what you do.
Yeah.
You put one step in front of the other. You may put one day in front of it. All I need to do, don't worry about tomorrow. Let me see if I can survive today. Yeah. Now, there's people that I hear of every week in this church that are going through that every single day. You're sitting by them in church, and you don't understand what they're going through. But they've lost husband, wife, kids. They've gone financially down the tubes. Their health is gone. I mean, it's something happened unexpectedly, like you said. You didn't prepare for this. There's no way you can prepare for it. Yeah. What are you going to do to get out of it? You've got to establish good habits to get back out of it. Because if you start doing bad, it's like Debbie, we were going somewhere the other day, and she said, it's raining, they're playing golf. I said, you know what? That's habit. These people can say they love golf because whether it's 19 degrees or whether it's 110, they're going to play. Yeah. I said, there's people walking our neighborhood. You can tell who's got a good habit because it didn't matter. They're going to be walking or riding their bicycle. The other people say that they walk and ride bicycles, but that's just whenever they feel like it. Yeah. That's not a habit. Yeah. You got to do something you do whether you feel like doing it or not. Yeah. The Bible says if you do well in small things, then he'll give you the big things. Yeah. But if you fail at the small things, or if you don't invest the dollar he gave you, you buried it in the ground, it's not going to turn out good. Yeah. Your habits is a prediction of your future. Yep. So you have to establish good habits.
Yeah, and I think even with your experience and other people, like you said in church, that we get to connect with or sit next to, where they're walking through a hard journey. I mean, again, the unpredictability of life. That's just the reality. We don't get to choose how life turns out. Right. God knows all things. Yeah. So the reality for us, we're not God, so we won't know how that goes. But it's choosing how are we going to walk through those journeys. And I kind of see it, there's two ways to do that, right? There's one way is instead of reacting, it's learning to pause, take a moment, which sounds simple, but in real life, it's almost impossible. especially in the fast-paced society we live nowadays, where there's information everywhere, right? You can just talk about the information outside of the spectrum of your own life and the chaos, and then you add your life in the chaos. It's like it's hard to even quiet the noise and pause. On the other side, you either choose to listen and try to understand and not respond, because everybody wants to respond, or everybody wants to, post their problems out for the world to see, instead of just listening to what God has to say, or listen to the pain you're walking out to. That's kind of a different level of maturity as you grow and know that there's seasons that you don't have words. There's seasons that there is no words to help with the tension and conflict and unpredictability of life. It's just to listen in the quietness, right? Like Elijah in the cave, just in the still noise to hear God speak through that moment. So which of those two do you think is the hardest to do? Staying still, or pausing, or listening and seeing if God, or are they both difficult when you're in the moment of your conflict?
Probably the answer is both. I would say everybody's geared different. And I know Pastor Justin talks about it a lot of times because he and I are a lot alike in this one regard, and a lot of my buddies are. God speaks to me different than he speaks to other people. And he speaks to Justin different. I'm talking about, he's, again, the crazy part of it. And my class used to tell me, he said, what song are you going to use today? Because, it was a natural thing when I thought about habits this week. Chicago, you're a hard habit to break. It's like automatic for me for something to pop into my mind that links things together. And when I get in a place like that, nature and outdoors, some people won't ever understand hunting, and I get it. It's not for everybody, but to get out, some of the best mornings for me, listening and not talking, and to be open to what's coming into my mind, is out in nature. I remember one morning specifically, we went to this place to hunt, and they said, you're going to get up like 3:30. We're going to get out. 3:30, 4 o'clock, we'll get out there. At 4 o'clock, we can't even see anything till 6. Holy smoke. And I thought it was crazy. But I got out there, you're sitting there. You don't have television. And, of course, Pastor Justin will listen to stuff. He's got something going on with something all the time.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm sitting out there with nothing to do for 2 hours, but I see the stars. Just millions and millions of stars. And all of a sudden, the sun starts coming over on the eastern side of the thing, and you see the sunrise, and birds automatically start singing, and creation starts moving, and you're listening to what God is saying to you.
Yeah.
You can't do that at an altar, or you can't do that at home. Of course you can. You can do it anywhere. I'm just saying you have to find a place, whether you want to call it a secret place. There's a secret place. But you have to find that place to listen to God. And if you're listening, he'll say something to you.
Yeah.
If you're talking, sometimes he won't.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I have to get a shot of adrenaline, something that will pick me up out of a moment. I mentioned to you that, it's been a long time since 1989. But since it happened on May 12th, it was around Mother's Day. So every single year, especially Debbie, on Mother's Day, and these things are linked.
Yeah.
And so even though I've told her every single year, the only difference between May 12th and May 11th is like May 11th is the day before. and May 13th is the day after. I know that sounds simplistic, but from a spiritual standpoint, you can't get stuck. You can't let one thing stick you every single time.
Yeah.
You never get over this thing that you're talking about, this tragedy, this unexpected event.
Yeah.
But you learn how to cope with it and manage it.
Yeah.
It's manageable, as you've already seen.
Yeah.
It's barely manageable because it'll get pretty close, and if you don't control it, it's gone.
Yeah.
After all these years, it's still a controllable thing.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what Job. That's exactly what he learned to do.
Yeah.
And I can't equate my loss with Job's loss, but it was a good thing for me to read it over and over and over, instead of viewing it, not just me, but the church,
Yeah.
viewing it as your life is over. That the 42nd chapter of the book of Job says, God blessed Job more in the second half of his life than he did in the first half. It's hard to wrap your head around that.
It is.
That's what the word says.
Yeah.
But then Job says something. He said he died old, and that he was full.
Mm-hmm.
He died full.
Yeah.
So this notion that you've always got to be empty out of a loss, I told you I was.
Yeah.
But you got to do something to fill that back up.
Yeah.
Worst thing you can do is walk away or run away from God.
Yeah.
That's what happens in tragedy. You're either going to push closer, or you're going to go further away.
Correct.
And there is a critical moment in that you have to decide what you're going to do.
Yeah.
I guess mine was, I was thinking that I had no choice, that I had nothing to give. And God had to remind me that it was him working through me anyway.
Yeah.
It wasn't me, and that he could still work through me.
Yeah.
And so I was happy to have an avenue to start getting back to more normal.
Yeah.
Even though that's a hard thing to be.
And what do you say always? It's a new normal.
It's a new normal.
It's a new normal. And I know as you guys walk through your tragedy and situation, one of the things that stood out to me is in that waiting room, there was a community.
It was.
That you weren't alone.
No.
Even though that moment could very well feel like you are. And shifting into that perspective, what's the role of the church when it comes to allowing a space for people to, one, be real about the habits and when conflict happens in their life and tragedy happens and separations happen, but that people can be open about their habits and the things that they need to change, but that the church can help people kind of find their path or their footing, or just instruct them or guide them. Hey, there's a better way to do this, for your experience.
Well, you know part of it already, Pastor Joel. The church is about salvation, and that's the priority of the church, is getting people connected in part of the kingdom of God.
Yeah.
But church to me is after they're saved. I mean, everybody has a role in presenting the gospel and helping people find Jesus, but it's more than discipling people. It's really caring for people. And I've always felt that with the personality God gave me, it's very easy for me to talk to people, relate to people, have fun with people, and know a lot of people. I know a whole bunch of folks, but you can't talk to everybody. I mean, nobody, I've said this, nobody can possibly know what something like this is like unless you've gone through it. You know exactly what I'm talking about with your experience, with a different experience, but the same kind of struggle. And you have to be able to tell people sometime what you really feel. You can't do it for everybody.
Yeah. No.
But the time that I feel like is most critical for the church that can't be missed is when someone is going through something like this, is whether it's a text message, whether it's a telephone call, whether it's a card in the mail, whether it's, it has to be something to show them that you care
Yeah.
and that you're praying for them.
Yeah.
This notion of, yeah, I'll pray for you, I'll pray for you. Most people are so involved in their daily stuff
Yeah.
that it might run across their mind, but then it might not.
Yeah.
You have to be, and you're the connection pastor, you know more about this than anybody.
Yeah.
You have to show people that you are connected to them and that we are trying to do this together. We can't be in your shoes, but we can be next to you in our shoes.
Yeah.
And we can be together on this.
Yeah.
And I think it makes and breaks a church.
Yeah.
I really do. Funerals, if you can't minister to people when they've lost a loved one, I don't know exactly how you can call yourself a church because that's critical. That's a critical time in their lives.
Yeah.
And so
it's their most vulnerable moment of their life.
Yeah.
It's the most broken moment of their life.
they don't know what they're going to do.
Correct.
They're at the crossroads.
And if you could read scripture and says God is close to the brokenhearted. Well, close enough to that moment of a reflection of God in their life is the church when they respond.
Absolutely.
And that can give them the peace, right? And I think sometimes as a church we can say, well, we won't deal with those things. We won't step into that space just to, as a quote unquote, keep the peace and not be involved in. Because, I mean, in those moments, you're going to see what it looks like to walk through those journeys. And it doesn't look cookie cutter. It doesn't look perfect. The person you thought is like, what? I didn't expect that. But that's okay because, I mean, if you look at the 11 the 12 that Jesus walked with them, you would think these are the guys that walked with Jesus. Like they were not perfect whatsoever. And when life became tough, they made some decisions. And some came out of it, some didn't. But that doesn't mean that Jesus rejected them and pushed them aside. So the notion is that, we don't allow that or the space. Or on the reverse side, some people say, well, I don't want the church to know. I don't want to be a burden. I don't want to be someone's problem. I don't want to be a charity work for someone. Man, how many of that I haven't heard across the board? And many times, like you said, connection pastor, we're like, hey, but we really want to know because that's what makes the church, the church. And not just because we have the name Together, which coincides with that together, but we want to do life. That's where we really see where God does the work. It's not in just the copy and paste sermons and the great, cliche sayings and phrases. It's in the nitty gritty of the Monday through Saturday.
We have a responsibility as a church to function as a church on Sunday.
Yeah.
Pastor Ricky and his team do a phenomenal job. I mean, it can't be any better than that.
Yeah.
Pastor Justin, when you get up, you do a phenomenal job preaching. That's a Sunday morning church service. But other things happen the other 6 days of the week that the church has to do equally as well. Yeah. And that's to show you love people.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think, and in those moments that we show up, it allows people to start creating better habits, right? And then allowing relationships to grow. And allows people to also probably face the question of, man, every time I deal with a conflict, it gets worse or I become worse. And, many times we can say, well, I can get over that, but there are some long-term damages if you don't reverse that, or you have better habits when you deal with conflict, and you're always going to have this thing that feels like it multiplies into more problems. But then to be able to have the right community, the right voices, allows you to actually sit down and say, I don't want to respond to this like this anymore. I want my response to be different. Would you have some thoughts on what does it look like to change, the the question is, what does that change actually look like in real life and not just theory? Because we can paint it a certain way. We can give the steps, 5 steps of you do this first, you do this first, you do this first, and it doesn't seem like it works. But what does it look like, especially for your experience in real life, to be able to manage and move forward?
Well, I'm not going to use the Bible for this one.
Okay.
I'm going to give you a real life circumstance.
Yeah.
To me, I had a fantastic career in the business corporate world. I got to work for some great companies. Probably wouldn't change a thing that I did. But one time, I left a really, really good job because another company kind of dangled another title in front of my eyes.
Okay.
And even though I was happy where I was, I thought, okay, this is my next logical move. This is my next step. I'll pack my suitcase up and go to the new place.
Yeah.
Let me see how I can say this safely. This was the opposite of a job from heaven.
Okay.
And I thought, what in the world have I done? I mean, this is not what I expected.
Yeah.
This is not what I wanted. And looking back, and that's the great thing about it.
Yeah.
Looking forward, you can't see it. But looking back, you can see the intentions and even the pluses of being in a bad situation. Me and the ultimate president of the company, we didn't hit it off very well.
Yeah.
And we didn't see eye to eye. But I was in a position that I had to work closely with that person. And she started bringing out some things that I'd never heard of. And one was a book by Stephen Covey. Some people heard of it, some people haven't. But it came out in the 80s. It was called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. If you are a reader, or if you want to know how to react to things differently than you're currently doing, even though this book has been on the market for a long time, I would advise you or recommend to you that you buy the book and read 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I'm not going to go all through 7 of them. I mean, obviously, I think one of the first ones is first things first. There are a lot of things that are important, but not everything's urgent. So you learn how to do the urgent things, and then you do the important things. You don't work on the important and let the urgents get you.
Yeah.
But one of the habits that they established is it says, seek to understand others before understanding yourself. Seek to understand them before you get into this is the way I see it.
Yeah.
Understand where they're coming from.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the corrective things, and probably to me one of the hardest things to do.
Yeah.
I'm very opinionated, and I'm very headstrong, and sometimes in the moment, I might not think that here's the way I feel about it. I don't know how you feel about it, and you certainly can't get to the place you say, I don't care what you feel about it.
Yeah.
You have to be open to that, and that'll solve a lot of conflict, is if you just be quiet and let them tell you where you're coming from. That's the problem with their government right now, is nobody's listening. They're just talking their side of the picture.
Yeah.
When really 2 grown adults should be, or two parties, or to anything, should be able to sit down and really listen and understand where the other person is coming from. And once you both understand where you are at, you have a better chance of resolving it than to go in at one-sided. So to me, that's a conflict solver right there, is don't push yourself and constantly do the talking. stop and figure out where you are.
Yeah.
You can't change anything until you figure out where you are.
Correct. Yeah.
And
yeah.
that's a good starting place.
Yeah, and I think that can even connect with our relationship with God in a sense of sometimes we have to see it from God's lens before we start attributing our perspective to it.
Yep.
And many times when we start with God's lens, we forget about our perspective because it makes sense. Oh, okay. And even if it doesn't, it's still overcomplicated. It still doesn't logically sit, but I could see God is moving in that way. And it just works with our relationships in general. I think there's power in listening, and we're missing that in our generation nowadays. We all want to say, we all have opinions, but we're missing what we're saying. Maybe all are saying the same thing, but are not listening to the core of all of it. And that helps with a lot of conflict. That helps with a lot of things. And, I'm still learning that with 18 years of marriage.
Well, this was, like I said, this was the most difficult place I'd ever been in career-wise.
Yeah.
But I can honestly say I learned more in this place than I learned in the other places.
Yeah.
So just because you're in a bad place, actually it could mean at times God's put you there specifically to learn something.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And if God's got you, he says, hey, hold on. It's because he wants to teach you. I think I try to tell everyone, what is God teaching you versus praying to God to take you out? Because if he's trying to teach you, he's not going to take you out.
No.
So you're going to be stuck there till you learn something. But that's so good because at the end of the day, conflict is going to go on, right? It's going to come. Again, we can't plan it. We can't orchestrate it. Sometimes we can because of the decisions we make and we're part of it, but it's not optional. But what I believe is optional is whether we keep repeating the same cycles or we start building new patterns that actually reflect growth in our life. And if you're in a church community, if you're showing up Sundays, if you're showing up to a group, are you really diving in deep enough with community that you're growing from it? Or are you repeating cycles that are keeping you saying the same things? That was awesome. Thank you so much, Brother Dewayne, for your time, this conversation, your wisdom, and your stories. I think a lot of people will connect to what you said, and it's going to bless and help a lot of people. And it's something that probably stood out for a lot of people and allow them to see that it's not just creating new habits, but it's shifting a life. It's shifting a momentum. And if you're watching this and you're like, man, I know someone needs to hear this, don't send it to them trying to say, this reminded me of you, because we do that. Do more of this helped me. I think it can help you too, and you can share with them. But thank you for being with us. We'll see you next time. Come on.